Good morning and welcome to All Souls Church. My name is Don Swanson and I'm this week's service assistant.
And I'm Alicia Jaromin. I'll be providing today's reflection and other parts of the service, along with my friend Kellie Kinsman.
A few etiquette things. We keep everyone on mute for the service except for our time of sharing joys and concerns.
If you're new to All Souls Church, please take a moment to click the link in the order of service in the chat for our connection card so that we can stay in touch.
It's up to you if you want to turn your camera on and be seen. We do record the service, though joys and concerns shared won't be in the final recording.
Please feel free to chat in the chat box or ignore it.
During the service, please feel free to get up, move around, or take a break from the screen as you need to. But try to be as present as possible and imagine we're all in the same room together.
Finally, remember that when you're invited to sing or to pray, to share or to chat, how you participate or don't is up to you.
After church, we'll have some time to say hello in breakout rooms.
Now, hear these words of welcome.
All who enter in a spirit of curiosity, love, and justice are welcome this morning.
Welcome to the people who love God, people who don't believe in God, and people who live in the not knowing.
People who find a higher purpose deep inside, people who find it in relationship with one another, and people who find it in the interdependence of all existence.
And all the people in between.
Whoever you are, whatever your gifts or abilities may be, however you identify your gender or sexual orientation, wherever your life and faith journey has taken you, you are welcome here.
Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you understand the sacred, you bless us with your presence.
We light our flaming chalice with words from the Reverend Margaret Keep. As surely as we belong to this universe, we belong together. We join here to transcend the isolated self, to reconnect, to know ourselves, to be at home. Here on the earth, under the stars, linked with each other. And we follow the All Souls tradition of lighting a green candle, symbolic of our commitment to being a green sanctuary congregation. May both these flames call us to kinship with and great care for the earth and her living creatures. As we center our hearts, let's sing our chalice song for May, Flame Welcome All.
Hi, so the opening words are from Trish Telesco. I'm Kellie Kinsman. Feathered winds, come dance with me, lift me from the ground, join my waltz, my spirit freed as we're upward bound. Tongues of flame, come jump with me, ye purifying fires, join my joy, my playful glee as we move yet higher. Tears from seas, come sing with me, roll out from the caves, join my verse, my body cleansed in your healing waves. Mother Earth, come laugh with me, set aside your toils, join my chant of forests green, secure me in rich soil. Earth and air, fire and sea, I call you all, come dance with me. Grant me now a sacred space while working magic in this place.
Please join us in singing our opening hymn, Mother Earth, Beloved Garden, number 389. The words are in your screen, are on our order of service. As a spiritual community, we journey together through life's ups and downs and hold each other in love. We take this time to reflect on our week, to recall the milestones, the joys, the concerns, the sorrows, the changes in our lives, and those in need of healing. If you have a heartfelt milestone, joy, or sorrow you'd like to share, you're invited to share aloud or in the chat. If you'd like to share, you can come off mute, again by pressing the mute-unmute button in the lower left corner of your screen, or pressing *6 if you're calling in. Please share your name and briefly express what's on your heart. If you have trouble unmuting, give us a wave and we'll try to unmute you from this end. After each person shares, we will drop a stone in the water, symbolic of the water gathered in this year's water ceremony. Please know that this session won't end up in the final recording. What's shared here is kept only here in real time. All are welcome to share now. We drop one final stone for all the joys and all the sorrows, spoken aloud and held quietly in our hearts. Please join me in singing our centering hymn for the Earth Forever Turning, number 1009. The words are on your screen or in our order of service.
For the earth forever turning, for the skies, for every sea, for our lives, for all we cherish, sing we our joyful song of
invite you to join in a time of meditation and prayer, first in words, then in silence, then in melody. Our words of meditation today are from Carol Carton in her book, Mrs. Darley's Pagan Whispers, a celebration of pagan festivals, sacred days, spirituality, and traditions of the year. We too can begin a new life, one that brings satisfaction and enrichment, whether this is by singing, dancing, running through the waves, walking barefoot on the grass, or making love under the stars. Perhaps your dreams are greater than this, or perhaps more conservative, but whatever they are, Beltane is a wonderful time for expressing who you truly are. Let us be together in shared silence.
A religious community is like a river formed from the many streams of our lives that meet and merge and flow to the sea. As members and friends of this religious community, we share our time and energy, our creativity, imagination, and vision, our talents, skills, and gifts in the streams of our individual lives to create a river that is both deep and broad. A river that is made of many streams sustains life and refreshes the land through which it flows. But the river of this community also depends on our shared financial support that makes our shared values and vision. We will now receive an offering for the support of this religious community in its work in the world. You can give online at the link in the order of service and in the chat, or you can have a meditative moment of writing out a check later on today and mailing it to the church. You're invited to give generously and joyfully as you are willing and able. Thank you. The world is holy. Nature is holy. The body is holy. Sexuality is holy. The imagination is holy. Divinity is immanent in nature. It is within you as well as without. Most spiritual paths ultimately lead people to the understanding of their own connection to the divine. While human beings are often cut off from experiencing the deep and ever-present connection between themselves and the universe, that connection can often be regained through ceremony and community. The energy you put out into the world comes back.
Beltane is the ancient yearly celebration of the fullness of spring and the coming of the summer warmth. It is a celebration of fertility, of rebirth. It is the time of year where historically earth-centered religions welcome flowers with floral headbands or in baskets delivered in anonymity to their neighbors. Often it culminates in a roaring bonfire to dance around in honor of the sun. Beltane comes at the midpoint between the spring and summer equinoxes and mirrors its opposite festival on the pagan calendar, Samhain, which is celebrated around Halloween. Both are said to be a time when the veil between the living and their ancestors is thin. And during Beltane, it is often said that fairies abound, playing mischievous tricks on unwitting humans. Personally, I was introduced to Beltane in 1994 through Margaret Adler's book, Drawing Down the Moon. I remember reading in my college parking lot, I remember seeing photos of Beltane, a pagan odyssey, a festival celebrated in Connecticut, with 10-foot bonfires and ribbon-clad maypoles, vowing that someday I would go. That someday came, as many do, in the springtime of my life, when the days were far too full and my children were young, still wanting to hang out with me. That Mother's Day weekend in May of 2015, Bella was 6 and Wyatt was 12. I got done with work on Friday in Waltham at 6, had Andy meet me there with the kids and Nikki, along with our tent and supplies for the weekend. Andy's idea of camping has 4 stars and not the type you notice in the sky, so he was staying home with the animals for the weekend. Everyone else piled in the minivan and headed to Schreiber's farm in Oxford, Connecticut, 3 hours away. By the time we got there, it was pitch black. We drove to the address given on the Facebook site and found a small troop of Boy Scouts who sent us driving down a path which ended up taking us through 2 farm gates and into the middle of a cow pasture in the dark with no idea where we were supposed to go and no civilization in sight. The kids were tired, and I was sure we were going to sleep in the car that night. We told the kids to lay down and get some rest on the minivan seats, and Nikki and I stepped outside the car to discuss what our next step was. As we got around to the back of the van, we looked up in the sky. I cannot begin to tell you how many stars there were in the sky that night. We were in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by countless hills, and there was a noticeable lack of ambient light. The sky was so immense, and we could hear all the sounds of nature around us. After a short discussion, Nikki and I had decided to stay put, sleep in the car, and wait until morning. Literally not 2 minutes after getting back in the car and telling the kids, I got a call back from the priestess who was leading the event. She gave us directions to the campsite from where we were. Back down to the main road, about a half mile down, turn onto Quaker Farms Road and onto Plaster House Road. And at the end of that road, drive straight onto the dirt road, go up the steep hill for about a half mile, then turn at the large pile of rocks that you can't miss.
Can't miss them.
Make sure to stay on the inside of that road so that you don't go off the edge, and before you get to the river, park and set up camp. She said there was 1 camper on site already for the evening and that the priestess would be there with more attendees in the morning. So we started on the directions, sure that we wouldn't be able to follow them, but willing to give it a shot. Against all odds, the pile of rock was indeed hard to miss, and although the hill was a bit too steep and the dirt road a bit too narrow for my comfort, we went on, my white knuckles gripping the steering wheel while I outwardly looked calm as a cucumber. Finally, we found the campsite and started setting up our tent by the light of a battery-operated lantern. There was indeed one other tent in the far corner, but they appeared to have gone to sleep. Wyatt, my own personal Boy Scout, was a huge help with the tent. We got everything out of the car and put the kids to bed, and then Nikki and I sat on the picnic table with an adult beverage and listened to the babbling brook and the blissful ebb and flow of nature around us. This was heaven. The next morning when we woke, the fog was just rolling out. We introduced ourselves to the couple from the other tent, whom I'm still friends with on Facebook, and started our water boiling in the pan for the fire for some instant coffee, which was an instant success for everybody, by the way. Bella and I went on a hunt for dead branches to use for firewood, and along the way we saw the prior year's maypole, all decorated with all of the different ribbons. Further down the path, we spotted a fairy house fashioned at the base of a tree. And, honest truth, at just that moment, a speck of light flew out of the ferns, turned to pass directly in front of us, and zoomed up to the sky. To this day, Bella is convinced that a fairy visited us that day. Who knows? Maybe they did. As the day went on, the priestess arrived. She greeted everyone and told us what events were ahead. Sadly, the festival was in a rebuilding cycle at this time, so there wouldn't be the huge bonfire I'd seen in the book of years before. But the maypole would definitely be happening. A member of the coven designed a large labyrinth maze in one of the clearings, using a simple rope pattern that led into the center and back out again. We followed each other, making noise on any instrument we could fashion or pick from the pile of options, and chanted in unison, "The earth, the air, the water, the fire, return, 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 return," or maybe some similar chant that has since been replaced in my memory by the UU hymn. We were introduced to Joseph Firecrow and his wife Joanne. Joseph started to share his beautiful flute music and the stories of his ancestors. I know I've already shared my love of Joseph's work with you before, so I won't go into much detail about that. But his stories and songs often come to life in my mind's eye, and I will treasure them always. There was a moment of worry at one point when I realized that we had brought ribbons that were too short to reach the top of the maypole. After some strategizing and shuffling in the car, I came up with a reel of fishing line and tied that yard or so to the end of our ropes so that we could still participate. The maypole was as glorious as I had hoped. There were about 15 of us all, waving in and out of each other's paths. Some went left and others went right, making a patchwork of multicolored pole at the end. Mixing all of our colors into a work of art for next year's folks to find while looking for wood in the forest. We also took a tour of the working farm, which was hosting the event, thanks to the generosity of the farm owner. We fed hay to the cows from the back of the truck and splashed full speed into the river as it wound through the farm grass. The event ended with a ritual hand fasting or marriage. One of the couples in attendance had volunteered to play both of the parts. A ritual hand fasting is a regular part of a Beltane celebration, signifying the wedding of the goddess and the god, who will bring the goddess and the god who will bring forth fertility and abundance from their union. We went back again the following year and had as great of a time. That year, Wyatt and I went looking for wood in the pouring rain, in the dark, and somehow, against all odds, built a fire with wet wood. The second day, Joseph Firecrow and his wife arrived and hung out with us after his performance, sharing more of his talent and experiences. We broke Andy's good axe, which I still haven't heard the end of, while trying to chop wood, but we had so much fun along the way. Even the dead car battery at the end of the weekend, due to the kids charging their cell phones while on accessory, turned into an adventure we will always remember. We unpacked the whole car trying to find the jump pack, which we found out sometime later was hidden under the seat.
The whole time.
When we couldn't find it, we gave those same crazy directions to one of the other campers who offered to help so that he could look for a strange rock formation to get down the side of the hill where we were parked and give us a jump. One thing we were never able to participate in during the Beltane Festival for the 2 years was the bonfire. In ancient times, the Beltane fire would be burned in the center of town, and all sorts of partying, dancing, and merriment would ensue around the fire. The fire would be kept burning until the morning sun appeared. Often customs would have people wish on the flames or write on a slip of paper, noting something they would like to attract or repel in the coming season. Then the paper was thrown into the fire. So I was hoping that you all would help me to recreate a virtual version of the Beltane bonfire here today. Burn away your bad habits, give energy to the fire of your intentions, and make a wish that can be carried up with the flame. Here Here, I have a piece of paper. What you write on your piece of paper doesn't have to be a big wish or intention. It doesn't have to be something small that's easy to accomplish or overcome. It doesn't have to be anything at all. This process allows you to set an intention and then release that intention, knowing that it will be fulfilled in whatever way it can. Since we can't all be together in person, I'm holding up this small piece of paper to the screen. Please either type your wish or intention into the chat, briefly unmute and speak it out loud, or imagine that your intention is being written onto my piece of paper. I'll give you a minute or so to do that. Okay, maybe not a full minute. So I'm going to take this piece of paper that has all of our collective intentions, and I'm going to go ahead and burn it. And the intentions are then going to be lifted up to the powers that be so that we can release or experience whatever it is that our intention was. May the light from our fire shine on this wish and give momentum to the intention, that it may be for the better good of the person who wrote it, the person who wished it, and the people who surround them in love and light. Thank you for joining me in reliving this adventure. Thank you for sharing all the moments with me. I hope that my reflection helped you to remember all the wonderful, magical moments from the springtimes of your lives. Those crazy trips you've taken, the times you followed direction on your own to a large pile of rocks that you can't miss, the chances you've taken to make that someday you always dreamed about a reality, and the times when you reached the end of your rope and found a way to tie on a new bit and move forward. Remember to take those moments with you whenever you can. Remember to recapture the wonder of the light of the fairy in the woods, the triumph of building a fire in the rain, and the moments where you were out in a simple pasture with a beautiful view of the stars. Merry meet and merry part. May you be well. Please join us in singing My Life Flows On in Endless Song. The words will be on your screen or in your order of service.
Song above Earth's lamentation. I hear that real, though far off hymn that hails the new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear that music ringing. It sounds and echoes. So how can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest drown me, Lord, I hear the truth in living. The darkness round me close, songs in the night it given. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear that music ringing. It sounds and echoes in my soul. How can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing?
Today's closing words follow a traditional practice at the end of many earth-centered religious ceremonies, giving thanks to each of the cardinal directions in reverse order from the opening earlier.
Guardians of the North, spirits of the earth, you bring us endurance and strength. We thank you for your presence and the gifts you bestow. Fare thee well until we come again to this place.
Guardians of the West, spirits of water, you bring us passion and emotion. We thank you for your presence and the gifts you bestow. Fare thee well until we come again to this place.
Guardians of the South, spirits of the fire, you bring us energy and will. We thank you for your presence and the gifts you bestow. Fare thee well until we come again to this place.
Guardians of the East, spirits of air, you bring us wisdom and knowledge. We thank you for your presence and the gifts you bestow. Fare thee well until we come again to this place.
Merry meet and merry part until we are all together again.
Oh, I really hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. For today's postlude, I chose a special musical cover that I hope you'll enjoy. The little girl who sings in the following video, Claire Ryan, is 3 years old at the time of this video. She's now 8, and I highly recommend following her on her YouTube channel if you enjoy her performance here. Here she is singing a cover of At Last I See the Light with her dad. The song is my daughter Bella's favorite and from her favorite movie, Tangled. It makes me cry with happy memories every time I hear it. I hope you enjoy. Is she not the most adorable thing you've ever seen in your life? All right, on to announcements. So all events will still be on the church Zoom unless otherwise noted. There is discussion about how to proceed with in person, but that we're not there yet. Monday on May 3rd at 3:30 p.m. there's a connection circle and midday meetup. This is more of an informal conversation, so it's not as structured as the Friday. Wednesday, May 5th at 7 p.m. the Development Committee will be meeting to discuss the upcoming Hidden Talent Show. My voice is tongue-tied today. Saturday, May 22nd from 7 to 9 is the date of the talent show, so save that on your calendars and sign up with Sandra. Send me any pre-recorded video, audio, etc., and we'll get you up on the list. Friday, May 7th at 10 a.m., there is another connection circle. That's the coffee hour with the topic Wisdom from Our Elders. This is more of a structured discussion versus the Monday meetup. Saturday, May 8th from 2 to 4 is the final community conversation titled Skills for Community Care with Devin Shmuley, which is on the church Zoom room. Sunday, May 9th at 10:30, we are going to have some pre-service social time on this church Zoom channel. And then at 11, we will join the JP Church for a field trip. So there won't be a Sunday service at this Zoom room, but there will be one at the JP Zoom room. And just to note, Reverend Joanna will be on vacation from May 4th to May 7th. So please call her cell phone if there is a pastoral emergency. Otherwise, please feel free to reach out to any of the community members if you need some connection.
All right.
Joe, do you have anything to add?
Yes. So just to add regarding Reverend Joanna's vacation. So starting Tuesday of this week through Friday, you can call her and contact her if there's a pastoral emergency. Beginning on Saturday, the 8th, until Monday, the 10th, we have another person on coverage, and that is Reverend Elizabeth Buki, who is the minister at First Church in Jamaica Plain. So if people can contact Reverend Elizabeth beginning Saturday through Monday of next week if they need any assistance, pastoral care, and I'm sure I can find out the information and I'll forward it to Maggie as well, how to get in touch with Reverend Elizabeth Buki.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Joe. So I would like to thank everyone so much that helped out on this service. Reverend Joe, who even with a huge migraine took time to send me some quotes. Joe Maloney, who also helped with some quotes and announcements. Mary Mitchell, who's always wonderful at helping with scanning the sheet music and admitting attendees. Don Swanson and Kellie Kinsman, who were kind enough to lend their voices and flute to today's service. Jacob Clapper, who humored my texts at all hours and helped me to arrange the musical options in their right spots. Thank you to each of you for everything you do to make our community a welcoming tribe to come home to each Sunday. Have an amazing week if you're not sticking with us through breakout rooms, and I hope that you enjoyed today's service.